Hi, I'm Teo Nikolakis with Audioholics, and in this episode, we're going to talk about something a little different, the Bose Videobar VB-S. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back. Welcome back. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to our Audioholics channel here on YouTube, and if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. So, let's get started. Let's get into an overview of the Bose Videobar VB-S. The first thing to note is that the Bose Videobar is not something you'll find on the regular consumer Bose website. This falls under a different moniker, which Bose has a division called Bose Professional. And this includes products like work, professional, and church solutions that feature a line array and AMM multi-purpose speakers, portable PA solutions, commercial speakers that have surface mount, in-ceiling, or even pendant speaker solutions. There's rack mount audio processing solutions that feature network audio technologies like Dante, and what we're going to talk about in this video is video bar solutions. So the Bose Videobar has two models under this line. The first is the VB-S and the second is the VB1. So you might be asking, what's the difference? Really, it boils down to two things, and that is room size and microphones. So the VB-S, the smaller cousin, if you will, is designed for rooms and smaller meeting spaces that are about 10 feet by 10 feet. And the VB1 is really intended for larger spaces that are up to 20 by 20. Conversely, for microphones, the VB-S features four beam steering microphones, while the larger VB1 features 6 beam steering microphones. The Videobar VB-S includes some mounting hardware in case you want to mount the camera onto the wall, either sheetrock or studs. Next, there's an included stand in case you want to tabletop mount the VB-S. The included IR remote is highly functional and compact with all the buttons cleanly laid out. There are also some programmable buttons for presets. Finally, there's a hinge mechanism for wall mounting that allows you to pivot the camera up or down. The rear of the unit has the necessary connection ports. You'll find a USB-C and a power port. There's a 15-foot or 3-meter USB-C to USB-A cable included. The USB-C cable doesn't provide power, just data, so you'll need to plug in the included brick in order to power the VB-S. The bottom features a threaded port in case you have such a feature on standard mounting hardware for a television or a tripod. Plus, there's a privacy window that you can activate manually using the slider on the bottom of the unit. In some cases, you may prefer to use the manual privacy window versus a software solution. Assembling the Videobar VB-S is super easy. Simply follow the included instructions, include the mounting bracket onto the back, and then just attach the base with the included screws, and in a matter of seconds, you'll be done. You can tabletop mount, or you can wall mount the unit with the included hardware. Once successfully assembled, you can appreciate the ultra-low profile and slick look of the Videobar VB-S. It includes a USB-A to USB-C cable, and thankfully there's an adapter for those of you who have newer computers that only have USB-C ports. Once fully assembled, adjusting the angle of the Videobar VB-S is a piece of cake. Bose provides a companion app to maximize your configuration of the Videobar VB-S. You'll want to download the Bose Work Configuration app from macOS or Windows. The Bose configuration utility gives you all the information that you need at a glance in order to be able to manage your Bose VB-S. This is a tremendous boon, especially for enterprise applications and for IT shops that want to integrate the Bose into their environment over a network. Here, in the configuration tab, you can find whether or not there's an over-the-air firmware update enabled or rather available that you can install. You can set different options for user access on the network, including SNMP in case you use that protocol for any asset tagging or discovery of assets on the network. You can restore the unit to factory defaults, including saving any profile configurations that you've made. You can download logs or put the unit into low power mode or even reboot it from this tab, as well as provide a different name on the network for the Videobar VB-S, including the building, floor, room, and even capacity of that room so that you can track the asset. From the Video tab, what you have the ability to do is to set camera controls. You can define presets here from the application or from the remote control by saving them. You can also enable or disable auto framing, including whether to have it set for individual or group conferencing. And then you can fine-tune different adjustment options here, including low light compensation, backlight compensation, if there's any flickering, and to set the frequency of that flickering, and then make image adjustments here. Finally, you have full control over all network settings, including SNMP and even access to an API. Bose provides API documentation for their interface. The Bose Videobar VB-S has 4 beam steering microphones, and Bose has really done an exceptional job of giving you a graphical interface that shows you exactly how those microphones are working. You can set them to either be automatic in terms of where they're grabbing their sound from, or you can have a static mode where you're actually directing where the microphones are pointing. So I just want to give you a little bit of a video segment among the many test scenarios that I did so you can have an idea of how the dynamic and static works and what the graphical interface looks like. I want to take a sec to give you a little insight behind the scenes of what's really cool about the Bose app and what you can do with the beam steering microphone. So I'm in the app right now, and what you're probably seeing are these translucent overlays in 4 different colors. What this represents is the beam steering microphone. And what's cool is you can calibrate, if you will, to a degree exactly where these microphones are going to go. You can also set mute zones. So if you look to the left and right of the screen down here, you're going to see these gray areas with microphones crossed out. These are mute areas, so you can make these areas larger or smaller. So if you want to set areas where you don't want the microphones to go to pick up sound, you can do that. And you can also set what's called an exclusion zone, which is an additional gray bar here. The exclusion zone doesn't fully mute, but it definitely attenuates the sound. So that's another neat option, if you will. You can make the exclusion zone larger or smaller, and you can move it anywhere in the arc. Now, in addition to dynamic mode, which I am showing here, and the microphones automatically activate and steer, there's also static mode. And what static mode does is it gives you the beam steering microphones, and it allows you to direct exactly where those microphones go. Now, a great use case here is if you have a conference room table and the seats tend to be pretty much set. That way you don't have to worry about having the Bose figure out where exactly those microphones can be set. You have granular control over that. So you can simply set the beam steering microphones to direct exactly where those seats are going to be, and then you can save that as a static. Likewise, you can also adjust those silent areas where you're going to have the mute enabled. The configuration allows you to adjust the width of the room as well as the depth of the room. So I'm about 6 feet away from the Bose right now, and you're hearing me through the Bose microphone, and that gives you a pretty good idea. I don't have super tall ceilings in here, and I have some acoustic paneling. So the room has a little bit of a sound that you're probably picking up as of right now. So just saving the beam as static allows me to do that, and you'll notice where the microphones are. Again, switching back to dynamic, that will have the microphones automatically steer to where I am, and you'll notice that the microphones are adjusting accordingly in real time on the graph. So again, you get some enterprise grade features here, some advanced settings that you don't typically find at something at this price point in an all-in-one slim line. So it's a really well-designed product from that perspective. So here we are. I have the Bose Videobar VB-S on a tripod using the threaded mount, and I'm about 6 feet away or so from the wall. So this gives you an idea. I'm using the microphone, so I have it set to dynamic. So the microphone should be following me around, and you can get an idea of what the microphone sounds like here in a room as I'm walking back and forth side to side. And I'm using the mobile app on iOS. So what this will allow me to do is to do some presets. So here I'll press preset 1, and it should be zooming in over to me here. Then what I'll do is I'll set it back to the home view that I have as a wider, and then I'll put preset number 2, which should put me right about here. I don't know, how did that work out? All right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the follow me mode. So at this point, I've now turned off the auto zoom, and the camera should be following me based on my voice, and it should be panning the camera to follow along. So this gives you an idea of what some of that functionality is, which is really neat in the room. If you have a table, folks are sitting down, and you have different people speaking, the camera will automatically focus in on those individuals. So this gives you an idea of what the acoustics sound like, what the remote control is, and of course you get, and now you can. So you can mute and do a whole host of different things here right from the remote. So how does the Bose compare to some other cameras? Well, let's take a quick look here. Right now I have the Logitech Brio, so you can see this is a 4K camera, and you get an understanding of how that image looks here within Zoom. So most people are going to be using the Bose VB-S with some sort of video conferencing app with Teams, Zoom, etc., etc. Now, if I switch to the studio display camera, you'll see, wow, like it's really washed out. So while this is built into the Apple Studio display, it's a decent camera, not as great of an image. And now let's switch over to the Bose. Get a much clearer, sharper, superior image. Now, there's just one caveat, is you can't leave this device in auto exposure mode, because once you put it in auto exposure, you get a whole host of problems. So let me do a little bit of a deeper dive to explain that to you. I want to expand a little bit more on what I was talking about just a second ago with the camera quality. So let me do a little bit of a deeper dive to explain what it is. If you leave the camera in its auto mode, you are going to consistently get an overly bright image, as you can see here. I have ample light going on, but the camera seems to have difficulty in all these different environments. So if you are going to deploy the Bose, you should be prepared to make some adjustments to get the optimal image quality. So what I found is that I consistently had to lower the brightness down, no matter the lighting environment. So down to about here, in my case, maybe like 32, 33. I don't know how it'll appear once the video is encoded. And then I had to maybe slightly increase the contrast a bit to get optimal image quality. And in some cases, you may or may not wish to increase the saturation a bit. Now, the neat thing is the Bose does have a pretty rich API. So if you are deploying a lot of these cameras in a different environment, especially an enterprise, a school, or other work environment. You can probably use some of the settings in the API to make some configurations and then be able to control and adjust things. And obviously you have the remote control capabilities with the camera as well. So as long as you can see the camera on a network, you can make any of the adjustments that I'm showing here automatically with any camera. So pretty neat, pretty great, and you get a preview on screen of what that looks like. So just something to be aware of. I noticed something a little bit peculiar. So as I was working on videos, occasionally I would get a flicker, and I couldn't fix it with either the 50 or 60 hertz that was compensation that was built into the Bose. The software is pretty sophisticated in that regard. I thought maybe it was some of my LED lights, so I would be turning them on and off. I'd change the lighting, nothing worked. So if you are going to deploy the Bose, I want to show you a little bit of a quirk. If you happen to launch the Bose Work Configuration utility, as I am right now, you're going to notice that on your screen, it's going to start to introduce some flicker. So what you want to be careful of is if you are working on the Bose, you do launch the configurator app, and then you start to see some screen flicker. It's the fact that you have the application open. The moment that you close the application and you go back to the Bose, the flicker goes away. So don't think that it's either a 50 or 60 hertz problem that you have either on the power line or with your lights. It's actually some sort of peculiar bug that I found with launching the configurator app. So that's my take on the Bose Videobar VB-S. You have a product that's made for small conference rooms, really no larger than 10 by 10, and what you get is outstanding audio quality as you'd expect from Bose. The speakers are really great. Audio, vocals are highly intelligible and natural. Microphone, if you're in a room and you are a little bit a ways, you might want to supplement that with an additional wired or wireless microphone. Otherwise, as you saw, you do hear a little bit of the room, and you want to be careful not to leave this product in its auto exposure mode. Otherwise, you are going to get a bright image. It's going to be a little bit nasty, so you do want to spend some time dialing it in. And what's really great is if you're an enterprise, a school, or again, you're in a work environment and you want to deploy several of these, you do have advanced features with a rich API set, and you can control them all over the network, and you can make all those adjustments on the fly. So for a relatively decent price for what you get, this is a great package. And if you're in the market for a video conferencing all-in-one solution for a small room, you definitely want to check out the Bose VB-S. And don't forget our Patreon channel at patreon.com/audioholics. We appreciate your support. You'll get direct access to us, you can ask questions, and you can even suggest topics for future programs. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this brief overview of the Bose Videobar VB-S. And until next time, keep listening.